it's just one of those things. Yeah, welcome back to the nitty gritty, man. It has been 2 long days. I'm not sure if you guys heard me, but I'm reiterating it that it has been 2 long days. So we are back at it, and I have my very special guest, my little Munchkin Jr. So if he decides to chime in, you guys know this is just as real as it gets. Kids and all, doing the assignment, enjoying the assignment, and I tell you what, it makes a whole difference carrying out something you're supposed to do when you have the support to do it. Okay? That's just like when you're in school and your teacher says, hey, do this, and if you have any questions, come and ask me. And then you come and ask them, and they start berating you or belittling you for asking those questions. You're like, what? You just said that you were here to support me. You know, it's those things matter. They make people, internalize. They don't want to ask for help, and especially when it comes to parenting, because parenting can already be like difficult in its own way. Because one, yes, you know yourself and the things you've been through, but you're literally raising another human or multiple little humans. They have their own personalities. They have their own likes, dislikes. This texture feels funny, or I prefer to go here, or I don't like this activity. They all have their own little things that they're developing. And it makes all the difference when you have the support in that to be successful at raising these wonderful, wonderful little children. And, it really behooves us, one, because sometimes we may be seeing, people that look like they got it all together and, oh, they got all the snacks and, little Devon and little Timmy and little Sarah and little Ajanique and little I don't know, y'all, I don't know where that name came from, but I mean, and we may be looking like, oh, their parents, they come to every PTA meeting, or they go to every recital, or they go to, okay, you know, that's great, but not everybody has the support to make that happen. And I think those without that support, it's easy for us to start comparing. Anytime you get in that position, and you start asking, why don't I have that support? Like, where is my team? Like, where is my community? And sometimes we may have one. We may have people that, want to step in and things like that, but I don't know. We're like, yeah, I hear you offering, but I wouldn't leave my stray dog with you, or sometimes it'd be like, but my kid doesn't really know y'all, and y'all don't really know my kids, or it's, well, I don't even have the money to adequately compensate you for what my lovely children are finna take you through, you know, or it's like, okay, gotta cook, clean, and all this stuff, and then some people are say, oh no, just as you are and things like that. But you can't just have people over, or just taking your kids somewhere and it's just looking how they looking. You gotta, spruce it up a little bit. You gotta add some groceries in the fridge if they ain't in there already, and even if there's something like you just there's nobody to kind of step in, and then you're preparing to have your kids or whoever you're with go on an adventure with you. And then like I was today, we're getting ready to go. I knew what time we had to go. I was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. But then I started looking in the diaper bag, and I'm like, oh yeah, gotta get the babies cut. Oh yeah, gotta get the other babies, you know, uh, bottle. Or gotta make sure there's, formula in there. Or we gotta make sure there's oatmeal. Or is there a change of clothes? Is there, and a lot of people who either have somebody else doing that for them, or they have so much support to where that's not a stressful activity for them. But man, sometimes even just packing the diaper bag can be stressful. It can make you not want to go places. Okay, by the time you finish doing all those activities and your kid then took off their socks, shoes, pants, jacket, shirt, the other one is halfway up under something with buttoned up shirts that you don't even remember putting on them. The other one is flying through the rooms, and then you're trying to remain sane and load everybody up. I, for one, completely understand saying, if, hey, everybody take their shoes back off. We ain't going anywhere. We are staying home. It's gonna be, Junior, what are you doing? Stop that. We are gonna be just kumbayaing together. Like right now, my son is roly polioling around my bed. He has no intentions of going to bed. Meanwhile, I'm here saying, you need to go play with your sister. Like, bless you. You need where is your sibling support? Okay, you you need to go get your energy out with them. And and we seriously, turn to one another and be like, man, you remember these days? I remember this person was there. I remember that person is there. But now that we're raising our kids, we be like, they don't really know anybody. Now I do wonder if that has a lot to do with the pandemic that we were in, because a lot of people became very isolated, very self-preserved. Just like, oh, I realized I didn't need to be, all like this with everybody, to feel good. I actually enjoy chilling by myself, me and my children, or me, my children, and my husband. And I'm not gonna hold you up. That was pretty cool. Just having, my husband and our kids, our three kids, four kids, and I don't know, it just became cool. So, when everything got to moving back again and we're going back to work and weren't seeing each other for like 9, 10, 11, 12 hours, I was like, I am not okay with this. Because why haven't I seen you? Like, why haven't I laid like eyes on you physically? Like, it was just the weirdest thing. But when, I say all that to say is that I think during that time that's supposed to be support, it was kind of like you had to side eye your support, like, are you healthy? Like, are you gonna get my kids sick? Are and so people became even more to themselves, like, well, if me and my whole tribe can't go, then I guess we ain't going. And that's really how I was, not just because of the pandemic. I was already, like that, just uncomfortable in big crowds and things like that. But I was just like, no, we're not gonna do that. No, they're not gonna come over. I don't know. And then before you know it, you're looking around like, who can babysit? Who can take, Carmichael to his appointment? Or who can take Brenda to soccer? Or who, it's hard to really say you want the community to expand when most of our communities got shunned or neglected as time passed. And even then, it seemed like people just became more and more busy. And I understand, it's not necessarily anybody else's responsibility to support you in your dreams, support you in your, ambition, support you when you have to do things and You need them to be with the kids or support you. And, it's not like they're mandated. Like, if you don't do this, you're going to have a fine. You're going to go to prison, or, it's not like that. But sometimes I think we have that social expectation, like, okay, if you are saying, this is how you feel about this child or these children, whatever, I think it's like pretty reasonable. Y'all, hold on, I'm trying to open this Gatorade without my son karate chopping it out of my hand. But we feel that it's a reasonable kind of ask. And not to say like, oh, you should drop everything that you're doing or anything like that. But sometimes, you know, parents, we get frustrated. We need that moment, and everybody, they always say like, oh, well, as soon as you have kids, it's not about you no more. It's not, well, duh. We know that, and that is one of the most like annoying reminders because we know that. We wouldn't be asking if it was just for us. If we were single with no kids, like obviously we would just be going about our business. But we're not. And that saying that it takes a village, that is so true. Because having a village when you're raising practically a village, a future village, it makes a huge difference. It really does. And I used to feel bad. Like there were moments like, especially, when I think about the foster care days, it's like, dang, my makeup of who I'd say is what to me, like mother, father, sister, brother, whatever. A lot of them, like I do have, blood related family members, but those other ones, it's like that makeup, that realness, you know. And it's like that saying. What do they say? Blood, blood's not thicker than water, or water not. I don't know. All I know is if we ain't as thick as peanut butter coming through a Capri Sun straw, then maybe we should revisit some things, okay? And I just sometimes I used to get sad, like, wow, I'm really out here doing this. Like, it's really just me. Like, sometimes it 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 bothers me to be like, when I go talk to my husband, like, hey, is your mom, or hey, I don't say like your mom, I say like moms and things like that. But sometimes I want to be like, well, my mom said, or let's go visit my mom. Like, for a lot of y'all that don't know, my mom passed away in 2015 of lung cancer. So sometimes there's that sore spot when it comes to needing that support, because I really feel like deep down that is where my support would have been coming from. I feel like it wouldn't have been a question. It would have been just, okay, yeah, and things like that. But I I have to break out of that, because if I stay stuck in that, I won't be able to see the beauty of what anybody else does. You know, I would just see it as, oh, well, you guys are just doing this out of obligation, or, anything like that. But that's why I decided to just had to get unstuck, because it's just, it can be so depressing sometimes. You're looking at your children. I saw this one of these comments, and this lady said, I apologize for my feral children. And I cracked up laughing, because I was like, man, sometimes these kids are unhinged, okay? They just have no, I don't even know what you call it, but they are just on 12, okay? Not 10, 12. And I just sometimes have to sit there and go, wow, this is really okay. So you're really, oh, all right. And I know there are so many other people that have watched either their kids or their siblings just do something utterly ridiculous. I mean, just out of this world. Why would you do that? Like, I don't even think you got a why for how ridiculous that was that you just did. And that's the really Junior. He just launched my Gatorade. Like, I'm not even talking about you. Like, are you taking this podcast personal right now? And so you made me lose my train of thought, son. Oh, that's what I was talking about. And I was like, man, they will absolutely do something that I was like, I know some little voice or some little bell, something went off in your head that said, this is not going to end well. And you ignored it. Like, I know that bell is in there somewhere. And you're just ignoring it. And I'm not appreciating it because I already have to figure out who I'm going to have to help babysit your siblings while I take you to the emergency room. Like, things like that are very common in a parent's thoughts that are like me, that are full-time parenting. Like, and you can be full-time parenting and full-time working, okay? I know that that's hard and that's stressful, but I'm just saying, some people do it. Now, not everybody has that luxury. You know, some kids have disabilities, some are too young. You know, there are so many scenarios. So I'm definitely not saying like, oh, well, you can do this and that. And you shouldn't be playing. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. And so it's like in those emergency moments where you're like, hey, I need you to swing by, do this or that because I gotta go do this real quick just for a second. And when that tub is empty, you're a little you're a little sad, you know? It's like, oh, well, okay, and so we spend that time trying to like regroup ourselves, rebuild our confidence, and sometimes it's pretty hard to say, you know what? I'm not gonna just give in. I'm going to say, okay, well, just next time, you know, and it's all right. It's all right sometimes if we don't have what we see as support. Sometimes our support comes in different ways, different small ways that we may not even acknowledge, Sometimes we take on this stance of, well, isn't that what you're supposed to be doing? Like for me, it was when I would see like the cultural accepted like grandmother granddaughter kind of relationship, and grandfather and grandson kind of relationship, like when they would do certain things, or like the kids would take them, oh, I mean their kids would take the grandkids over to their grandparents' house, like, oh, this and that. I thought, like, and I genuinely did, doing yourself doing that. I just lost my train of thought, y'all. See, that's because it's late. Okay. Somebody, one of y'all on the in the comments, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, y'all please remind me what I was talking about so I can finish telling y'all. Because my mind be traveling, especially it's really, really late, and my son is thinking that he's Spider-Man mixed with a little Finding Nemo. and I am not approving of his choices. Okay? And so, what was I talking about? I really feel like I know this whole podcast is, about that lack of support, and I was talking about the emergencies, and I was talking, you know what? It doesn't even matter. The point is that we all need support from one another. We need support from our community. We need support from our families, like to have support, especially when you're going through a tough time, makes all the difference. And honestly, it leads some of us, like, if we went through it all by ourselves and we came out, I mean, you're never alone, first of all. But if we feel like we went through it all by ourselves, really, Junior? Come on, man. Um, and then, things start to get better, and then all of a sudden, I promise you, like, people just appear out of the woodworks. Like, all of a sudden, it's all of these people that are like, "Oh, hey, how you been? What are you up to?" And things like that. And then, we kind of have an attitude like, now you're coming around? Oh, now you see that things are different? You know, and, that just lets me know, like, well, hold on, I need to stay humble. I need to consider where they came from, what was going on at that time, like the trueness of that, and just be like, oh, I understand, you know. And sometimes you gotta just let it go, and I used to just grumble and grumble and grumble about not having support when I needed it. But sometimes I was like, what if not having support in one situation like actually changed my life? Like, what if there was something I wanted to go to, right? Then I needed a sitter, and so the first sitter cancels, and you're like, oh, okay, I still got time in between now and my concert or whatever. I'm gonna find someone else. Then you go find someone else, and they're like, "Oh, I'll see. I'll let you know." And then you're like, "Not really banking on it." And then you, uh, 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 and then you start to just establish this, like, you know what? It's whatever. Like, I know I do. I know I'd be like, you know what? Y'all, don't nobody want to come? Okay, don't nobody want to come? Okay, And so this bitterness will grow, you know, based off of that. And sometimes one thing that I learned from our pastor is that you will be offended with people who never offended, like who didn't even know that they offended you. They are just so, like, out of the loop with, your expectation of whatever it is that they are doing, that they didn't even realize it. Like, they are sometimes genuinely shocked by what we bring to the table and be like, this is my, I against you. This is how I feel about you. And it becomes it becomes very, I don't want to say almost redundant, y'all. Like, it really does. It becomes like, why are you constantly in this cycle? Like, for me, I was asking myself, why are you constantly in this cycle? Like, to where you need this or that, or to where you got to ask people, to cover this or to help with this or to, you know, and it's easy. One is easy to take that stance because I'm like, we got the emotions, we got the thoughts, we got the records right here. Nobody came through, you know. So we have all that. And then we put them all together and be like, see, this is why right here. But I think it's also important to look at like who who are we inviting in to be our community? Like who are we relying on? What are their habits that, would affect what you're trying to do? And then as we start looking like, oh, I want a different kind of community. Like not to say like this one, oh, this one ain't good enough because, starting to make money or whatever the situation is. Because I feel like, your roots are very important. Where you came from, where you grew up, the neighbors you had, all of that is so very important. And so it's just, in us being mindful that like, oh, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than, what I thought it was. I'm more connected than I realized. Like people are more caring or more, compassionate than I realized in the midst of us not getting help, okay? In the midst of these kids doing jumping jacks and you're like, please just get something, please. Not in the sense I want you to like sleep forever or something, but sometimes I just like, just go to bed, just close your eyes. You don't need to fight it, just close your eyes and then, it's all fine. You'll drift off the dreamy land, but no, that's not how that goes. And so it really bothers me sometimes when I'm like, trying to express, like, this is what I need. And then you have people like your explanation is not good enough for them. So then they start what is that word? Probing? Probing. I was gonna say prodding. I don't think that's a word. But probing, asking these things and you're like, look, this is the best I got. I'm giving you what I have. I don't know what else to tell you. Like this is this is it. This is all I got to offer in exchange for some support. This is what I got. And hey, if it's not, adequate, that's okay. That doesn't make what you have any less. It doesn't make you any less. It just means, okay, we we just adjusting differently here. That's okay. That's all right. Like we're not gonna trip about that. And I don't know why I keep, seeing in my mind like we're not gonna be comparing apples to oranges. Like I get it. Like they're both fruit. They're both good for you. They both require work to eat. They both have a color. Like so why are you doing it? So what this parent or this couple over here seems like they got everything together from the finances to where the kids go to daycare to what they eat for dinner. They got them a whole weekly calendar. They meal prep, all of the stuff that you want to do, you want to make happen, but it takes time and it takes support to cover for things while you put those things into place. And when you don't have that support, it just kind of feels like, man, this is such a hindrance. This is such a weight. And it shouldn't feel like that, especially parenting. In the sense of like, I'm just all out here just on my own, just trying to figure it out. And it's, you know, it's okay. That's what I tell people. It's okay to want support. It's okay to need support. And it's okay if you don't get it. Like we sometimes we take our need and put it on others and we call it their reasonable their reasonable job. Like we have this like reasonable expectation like, oh, because you know your features like this and their features are like that, so So you must need to be doing what they're doing. Did that, was that even English? You must need to be doing. Oh, that's awful. But people are getting it, you know. And no, thank you. And that's genuine, generally. Y'all help me. Y'all help me. It is so late, but that is okay. It is okay not to have that support. Like right now, like y'all don't think I want the whole recording little studio with the soundproof walls and um family or a sitter to be watching a kiddo right now while he's in here doing cartwheels and I'm trying to do this podcast. Like, of course, there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing that would be wrong is if we gave up. That part we can't do. We can't give up. We have to look at it. We have to assess it. We have to think about it like we do, like we've been doing. And sometimes some situations are tougher than others. You know, the decisions that we have to make, they aren't always like cut and dry. Sometimes there's some blurred lines in there, and you're like, okay, I'm just trying to, navigate the best I can, and that's good. That's good. And that's why I'm like, don't trip about it. Don't worry about it. Like today, I found myself, I was at the gas station. I was at the gas station, y'all, and something changed, and it left me in tears. I mean, these people are looking at me like, "Dang, is she okay?" You know. But and I just had that moment of I need to, you know, step in front of it. I need to. This is what I need to do. And y'all, I would love for things to just be so well put together and pampered and in theory I would, but I feel like I don't know. It's like the thing well, y'all might not know. But when people say, nobody's gonna love your kid or mama your kids like you would, nobody's gonna love your kids like you would love your kids. Something like that, like wouldn't take care of them like how you would. So with certain things, like certain sensitive things, we tend to be a little, keep those a little bit closer, to the chest. We're not gonna just tell all our business to everybody and be like, oh, I need this, I need that, I need, we're just gonna be like, hey, if I can make it happen, I'll make it happen. And if it doesn't happen, it's because it wasn't supposed to happen, you know. And I think that's some way about, especially like, when kids gonna say, I want to play this, I don't want to play that, and I want to participate in this, and I want to participate in that. And then you put all this effort and time and chauffeuring them, and then they go, yeah, I only liked it last year. And it's like, ooh, what? Oh, okay. Um, what? Okay. You get to a point where you just, okay, okay. That's what I'm telling y'all, man. We gotta just say, okay, it's okay. Hey, we rocking. Oh, you can't, and you can't, and you can't either, and you ain't finna, and you, okay, okay, okay. All, all that it takes is a, okay. Like, don't trip. Don't. Oh no 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 no. You can watch them at this age, and then now, don't do that. Don't do that. Mm-mm. And so, I mean, that's so funny because, um, he's literally like laid out, like he looks like a really, really big kid. And I'm like, oh, you see, if I was missing these moments because I went and got support. No, I'm just kidding, y'all. Get support, man. Reach out to people. If it don't work, it don't work, and that's okay. And that's okay. But something gonna get figured out. It ain't just gonna be, just any old thing going on. But y'all, I am so glad that y'all listened to this. This I was gonna say this TED talk, but y'all, I am just so grateful that we get to spend just a little time. Today's podcast is a little bit shorter, only because it is late. We are traveling, and just trying to one, be mindful of myself and be mindful of you guys, because the things that we go through as parents and guardians or leaders, you know, that have a full hand in raising the next generation, we really, really, really gotta think about what we're doing, where we're going, who we're helping, who we're not helping, and why. Because that why will help us deal with the things, you know what I mean? And so I just really hope that, those without the support, those that have been hoping and longing and praying and seeking that support, and it just isn't showing itself like how they thought. It's okay. It's okay. You know, you're really okay. If you're doing the best you can every day, like to some people that may be the bare minimum, but if you're, actively trying for something, I just want to say it's okay. Like, you know what? The support didn't come through. That's okay. That's okay because we already know you doing what you got to do. You're not gonna let nothing crazy happen. So go in peace. It's okay. You all right. You know. And next, what was I? I was supposed to include in this podcast of all the different platforms where you can view this podcast, download it, rewind it, all that good stuff. So I'll have to get that list and of course read it on here for the next time though, because it's time to get these littles in bed, y'all. I mean, it's been time, but they took a late nap, a really late nap. And although for a moment it was beneficial, I was like, oh yeah, I can get some stuff done. But now I'm like, this podcast though, them bedtimes though, you know, we gonna work it out. So I will see y'all on the next nitty gritty. I can't wait to talk about it. The next thing is gonna be the the insanity behind what kids do, because I promise you, they can see that that thing hurt, that they get in trouble, and everything under the sun. But there they go, there they go, doing it yet again. I don't know, but um. we will talk about that next time, because you're not gonna trick me into going even longer when we all need to go to bed. Okay? Love y'all. Talk to y'all later.